Hey everybody. So for the longest time I've had a crush. I've had a crush on this beautiful country called New Zealand. A friend of mine went there last year for summer for 3 months, and oh my goodness, these pictures. And I was I suppose I was planning on going there for half a year and it didn't pan out, but that country, that is on my list. I'm gonna work and travel through that country for a year. That's the plan because it's just gorgeous. So today I watched Falling in Love, the Netflix movie, and it was just it's so funny and so heartfelt, and there are so many amazing New Zealand clips. I love the New Zealand slang. I don't get a lot of I don't get it a lot, but I mean I don't know if it's I hope it is like slang they actually use in New Zealand. I wouldn't know, but like the whoop whoops, which is like the countryside, it I love it. I'm a countryside person. Like I'm a small village girl, so I love this whole movie. The just that they were walking through something like the desert, and then they got to the sea, and then before that there was like all these different, and then walking through the stream, by the way, through that very thin, like a little bit of water kind of stream, barefoot. That looked good to me. I would love to do that. So okay, rewind. This movie starts in San Francisco, and she has she Gabby has this boyfriend called Dean, who is a very strange guy. Like when you think of a guy who would never commit to a relationship, yeah, you kind of just think of him, and it was so creepy. Like he did, like he didn't give her choices. He just did it his way, and then she just had to do what he said or what he was thinking of. Like, for example, they went to the restaurant and he pre-ordered her food. Like he let his assistant pre-order their food so that she didn't even see the menu, so that she couldn't pick her own food. Like, what the hell is that? Like, if you do that for efficiency's sake, one, you shouldn't be eating out, and two, that's ridiculous. And then if you do that for any other reason, what the hell? Like, what the heck? What is that? Why would you do that? Why would you pre-order when you go to a restaurant? The whole point of going to a restaurant is looking through the menu, looking what's good, being like, I like this, I like that. Let's take this one and that one, and then we can both share them. And this guy, I mean, if you want to talk about non-committal, he doesn't want a closet shelf. That's too much for him. A little space to put his clothes is too much for this guy. And I was just like, girl, why are you putting up with this guy? This is horrible. And I love that when she says like when her friend says like, just set an ultimatum. I was like, well, if you have to set an ultimatum, it might just be the wrong guy. Like, you having to set an ultimatum, him not wanting to get some clothes in your house because he stays over. How about red flags? Like, get out of there. It's not the right relationship. If it takes this much effort and he doesn't respond, it's not the right relationship, honey. So then when she says to him, or when I love it when she asked him, she's like, if you can't commit to a closet shelf, how can you commit to me? And I was like, yes, exactly. Thank you. You needed to say that. He needed to hear that. And I mean, when they're together, he always looks at his phone. Only when she says something like, you should put some clothes in my closet, he's like, wait, what? We can move in together. He freaks out. It was like, talk about non-committal. So yeah, I don't like Dean. Just so that be clear. I did not like this guy who was just, oh, no. Just no. And then this yoga instructor, instructor. She was creepy. I mean, she was just plain creepy. The way she like crawled up on Gabby and her friend and like whispered, very creepy, that they should, be quiet because otherwise yoga can't be relaxing. I was like, yoga is not that relaxing when you're around. Either way, and I was like, maybe that's the problem. I thought it was creepy. So I loved the scene where she is like, okay, I'm gonna write this 500 word essay for why it should be me. And she's like, I'm gonna get myself some wine and then I'm gonna sit down and I'm in my PJs and I'm just gonna write it. I was like, literally what went through my head was like, give a woman a bottle of wine and a purpose to write, and off she goes. No worries whatsoever. And then she wins. And I was like, knew it. I knew it. So, yeah, she said something. She said, leap and the net will appear. And I was like, yeah, sometimes you just gotta jump on the opportunity, just try it. And then whatever happens, happens. That's life. But I really like that. And New Zealand, wow. Just every single time there were like shots of the landscape, of like her arriving, of the country, of the people. I love the people in the village as well. Like, it's this thing about villages where people say hi. Like when she walks into the coffee shop of the two men. Okay, I don't know their names right now. But then there is the one guy who has his headphones on and he keeps yelling like yes and everything to his laptop because he's a little bit sports obsessed, which is funny. But then he looks her with his headphones on. He looks her in the eye and he says hi, and she's very awkward and it's like hi, and I was like, that's it. That's what I notice, because I was born and raised in a village and now I live for university. I live in the city, and you can just see how awkward city people get when you say hi to them. You're like, hi, and they're like, wait, what? Am I wearing something from this person? Do they want to steal something? Do they want my money? Like, what is happening? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm from the village. We just say hi because it's polite. And that was so funny to me. So also a thing that was very funny to me was, or not funny, but like our friend Charlotte, the one who said like, put an ultimatum, she was like, yeah, we're doing marriage counseling, where you pay a lot of money to yell at each other. And I was like, that sounds very healthy. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so back to when she arrives in New Zealand and her suitcase runs into Jake's truck. And he is just sarcastic and sassy, but also kind and helpful. Like, he's genuinely like, hey, I can drive you. There is no lift here. Like, you're not going to get one. I can drive you. And she's so stubborn, which, I mean, it makes me really like her. But at the same time, I'm like, girl, you're really going to walk all the way, like, in this heat? Are you sure? But, yeah, she was. So, And then the inn was not like the pictures at all, but it's got this potential, right? Like, even when you see an old house sometimes and you're like, oh my goodness, or people are like, oh, it's such a dump, and you're like no, I can see it. I can see the beauty in it if we can fix it up. And it's one of my dreams to one day have a bed and breakfast. I know that is a very cliche thing that you hear a lot from people. I know, I'm aware, I'm very aware. I also hear it when I say it myself, or when other people say it. I'm also like, yeah, we'll see, honey. But I would love to have a tiny house bed and breakfast. That is my dream. I've got it like in my head. I can just picture it. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I'm not the most handy person, so we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, the iconic scene where you get to an old house and she walks the stairs and the stairs break under her feet and she kind of like cracks through them. Like, that's very, that always in movies with like an old house, the stairs will somewhere break. Like you see it in Mamma Mia 2, you see it in all these creepy movies, which I don't particularly enjoy watching because they freak me out, but most of the time at least. But the stairs always break. There's always one that breaks once you step on it. It's like iconic. So they did that well with the old house. And then, I mean, I get she was frustrated, but she ripped out the door. She was like, I can't get it open. Poof, there was the door in her hand, and I was like, that's what you get when you're frustrated. Oh, and then you get all these beautiful characters like Gilbert the Goat and Charlotte with the creepy dollhouse who wants to buy the bed and breakfast or scare Gabby away or something related to that. And Norm, who is just a wonderful man and who also he gave her a 90-day tab, and she was so surprised. She was like, wait, that's very inefficient, blah 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 blah. And he was like, you'll pay me back. And it's this trust that is not there in cities, that is there in villages. And I love that, because that is also one of those things that is different, because you know people and you trust people because they will stick around. Well, they don't always stick around, but villages, you trust people because you know them. You know where they live, you know who they are, or at least you get to know them and you get to trust them. So that's what I also really like, the 90-day tap, because it's all about trust in the end. And so the broken faucet, driving on the wrong side of the road, and then asking for somebody who does renovations, and then Norm asking Jake for his number for her, and she's just like, no, how am I gonna get myself out of this situation? And she keeps getting into these awkward situations with Jake, which I just it just made me laugh so hard, because it was like, yeah, that could have been me. Like I could have been this awkward person like her who is like, I need help, and then somebody asks somebody for their number, and you're like, no, not like that, like no, because he was like, why does she need my why does she need my number? And I was like, oh no, no, what's happening? And then I loved how Shelley is the business owner. Like, she is just wonderful, and she's so kind and so thoughtful, and she can read people's faces. Like, she can, behind the mask that people put on, she can just see what they really feel, which I think is a very amazing quality of a person. So, yeah, Charlotte's creepy B&B freaked me out. The dolls freaked me out. So, I have a funny story for you. In the city where I live, there are some people who have these big dolls in front of their window, and they dress them. And so with COVID, they put a mask on it, but then when you cycle past it, it looks like a real person. So it's freaking creepy when you look and then you realize it's a doll, and they look all dressed up, ready to go, like, I don't know, ready to go out to the shop or something. And you're like, wait, what was that? Like, it freaks you out every single time. And they change clothing every week. It's like, I mean, they go to the laundry or something, I don't know, but it's freaking creepy. So Gabby gives Charlotte gives Shelley some wonderful advice. She was like, if he doesn't ask you out, ask him out, take a chance. And then later when Shelley comes back and she's like, I tried to ask him out, but he beat me to it. I was like, exactly. Because when you try, he'll see you try and he'll ask you first. Like, it will work out. And they are so cute together. That guy was so cute. And then when Jake said, here's the thing, you could just see how different Jake and Dean were from the get-go. But also when Jake was like, salad isn't a real dinner. Whereas Dean was like, you can just only have a kale salad. Like, no bread, nothing sweet or nice or whatever. It was like, that sounds like a horrible way to eat. That's not eating out at all. And, oh my goodness, they have this saying that Jake said. It was like, a little rain won't melt you. And in Dutch, we have, je bent toch niet van suiker? Which I said once to a friend of mine, like, you're not from sugar, are you? And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, no, 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 it's a Dutch saying. Like, you can handle a little bit of rain, right? And uh, those things just make me laugh so much. So, yeah, Jake is a gentleman. And he was so right. The countryside is fresh air and open space. And I so get that. Because it's also like community. Like, when she's sick, everybody comes to help. And also Jake, sorry. And he does all this stuff. And then when she proposes him to be her business partner, they argue all the time. And yet they work together very well. And it's just, sledgehammering should be the new self-care. It's all these little things that are like, yeah, together they build up, and that's kind of perfect. It just all comes together so well when they're together, and they keep each other on their toes, and yet they totally fit or something. It's like pushing each other to grow and pushing each other to be honest and to talk about the hard stuff and all the different things. Oh, and the immurement, the letters in the wall, they found love letters. I remember when I was in high school, they were building this wall. I don't remember what it was from, but there was a little space that needed to be filled. So we put school books in it. So still, I believe that there are school books in this one wall in my school. And we put what's it called, cement, like the stony stuff that you stick between the stones. I don't know what it's called in English, I'm sorry. And we put that in there too, and then the books are basically part of the building now. So the school will always be kind of a school. Like Jake said, a house remembers everyone who's ever lives in it, which is what I loved, because I said it a lot, but well. But I do believe that. I do believe that there's a little bit of everybody who's lived in a house. For example, the house we moved into, there were all these drawings that we and didn't paint over, but put like paper on the wall, like wallpaper. Put wallpaper on the wall over all the drawings, but they're still there from the previous owners. And there are no snakes in New Zealand. Can we just please acknowledge that there are no snakes in New Zealand? And I think there are also not all the creepy spiders that are in Australia and New Zealand. So actually, New Zealand is the safer choice. And yeah, the universe has its own plan for things, and I think that with time you will learn a lot of things. It just depends on if you give yourself the time and space to think about them. And she also said, the more I think about leaving, the more I want to stay. Like, that place got her. Like, they gave her a hug, and she was like, this place is warm and comforting, and this is a community, and it's just nice. And then they read the love letters on the beach with the picnic, and it was just kind of perfect. And I'm a person who loves who is fascinated by the First and Second World War, all these stories, and when the last letter ended and she was like, wait, what happened? And she didn't know, and she was like, I just hope that it was something good. And Jake just kind of comforts her. Like, I bet they made it out. Like, lots of people, like, the end of the war was very messy, so I bet they got married. And I was just like, it's the simple things. So the more you get to know a person, the easier it is to use what you know against them. This is what I also started thinking when they fought. I was like, the more you know about a person, the easier it is to hurt them in the places that really hurt. Because if you don't know a person that much, them saying something hurtful, I mean, you'll figure it out. You'll get through it. But if you really know a person and they really know you, and then they say something hurtful, that can be so painful. So that's what I saw when I saw their fight. I was like, it wasn't just painful. This was hurting them both. And then their stubbornness, damn it, hurt them more than being honest. Like, if you want to say something to somebody, tell them. Don't hold back. Don't not say it. If you want to apologize, apologize. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make you whatever you think it makes you. It makes you a good, smart, decent human being. Apologize for the things you say, because that's the only way you can fix it. Because if two people are stubborn, one of them has to go first. And I'm glad Shelly saw it. I'm glad she talked to Jake and she talked to Gabby. But in the end, like, they have to do it themselves. And by the way, when they did the tour through the house, which I loved the flower sun panels. And all the green ideas, like the reusing the water, all these different things. That was amazing to me. But also how they didn't have a TV. Because, hey, we have tablets, we have high-speed Wi-Fi, but we have this view. Like, why would you need a TV? And I was like, yes, thank you, exactly. Because the bed looked out on the woods and on, like, the beauty of the nature. And I was like, this is amazing. Because you just feel home right away. And then when they talk about what they learned from each other, where one was like, just because something is broken doesn't mean you throw it away. And fix up what's not working, treasure what's worth saving. I loved it. I loved it. I loved this whole movie. Everything happens for a reason. There were so many amazing things in this movie. And I do believe that you have to follow and trust your gut for the big decisions in life. Like, Gabby stayed in New Zealand. Not because it was the smart decision or something like that. No, it was the right decision because it felt right. And she stayed not knowing whether Jake was gonna be like, yeah, I like you, or that it was gonna be super awkward for the next years. But she stayed either way because it was the right thing for her to do. And then after, like, at the end, the lyrics, at the moment, like at the final scene, the lyrics of the song, I just have to share it. It said, and I may not move a mountain or solve the whole world's problems, but if I can help you solve just one today, that's okay. And as the movie kind of turns into the credits, they sing, I believe in me, I like what I see in the mirror. And that's the whole point, right? When you make decisions, you gotta be able to look yourself in the eye in the mirror and be like, I believe in me, I like what I see, and I'm gonna be okay. That's basically it. Like, you're gonna be okay. And that's what they are in the end. And I loved it. So have yourself a wonderful day. Enjoy the movie Falling in Love. I know I did. Until next time.